So a couple of years ago, I helped my youngest daughter make a simple pincushion using recycled cardboard, some fabric, and a couple of cotton balls. To her displeasure, I kinda sorta borrow it, like a lot. So I figured I'd make my own, and only problem is I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna make it out of or what the theme's gonna be. So I figured that why would you do that?
I'm being your muse.
My muse.
Yes, you said you didn't know what theme it should be. Thus the outfit. And water. Your theme is water. You're welcome.
You know, could have just done without the water. Maybe just say water instead of dousing me with it.
I suppose, but I wanted to make sure that you were thoroughly inspired. I'm very detail-oriented that way.
You got water everywhere.
It appears so. You should probably clean that up. And you should get off your butt and make something instead of bothering everyone about how unimaginative you are. I can only do so much. Jeez.
You know, you could at least give me a towel to dry off.
Get to work!
To start this project, I first made a cup from cardstock scraps and covered it with cellophane wrap. I then took a ball of aluminum and began covering it with oven-baked sculpting. This will end up being the head of the octopus. I placed the cup and the head on a small piece of cardboard that will later serve as a working base for the sculpture, and figured out the general size of the head. Turning the cup upside down, I started covering the bottom with clay. Making a sheet of clay and then draping it on the cup would have been easier, but I don't have the tools for this, so this method will have to do. I covered the cardboard with aluminum foil and pressed the cup and head down onto it, and began the sculpting process. In the design, I decided to include a starfish into the sculpture. I rolled out one large ball of clay and 5 smaller ones. I pinched the smaller balls into cone shapes. These will become the arms of the starfish. To get the angled top of the arms, I simply pinched along the top of each arm and met in the middle. Using 2 different size of ball tools, I added texture to the starfish. After the starfish was completed, I started one of the tentacles of the octopus. I made a long tube of clay and draped it along the cup to figure out the look. This, of course, is when I discovered one of my mistakes. I should have put a layer of clay on the side of the cup before I began to lay down the starfish, the head, and the tentacles. But my excitement got the better of me. No worries though, we can fix this later. Continuing with the tentacles, I didn't have a real plan on where they would go. I just experimented with the twisting and turning until I found a position that felt natural. After each tentacle was placed, I filled in the space between the tentacle and the side with clay. This is to secure the two together. For the eyes of the octopus, I used 2 round stone beads. These will not be affected by the heat of the oven when the clay is baked, and will give a nice element to the finished sculpture. I cut away some of the clay from the front of the head and smoothed it around the sides. I also cut away clay from the back of the head to round it out more. To make the breathing siphon, I first made a hole in the side and filled it with a clay ball. I then added little strips of clay for the wrinkles around the ball. Between two of the tentacles, I added the webbing and smoothed it in. Moving on to the head, I began texturing it with pieces of clay and then ball tools using 3 different sizes. Continuing the texture to the tentacles, I added a subtle hammered look. For the suction cups, I first made holes and then put balls of clay into each hole. Using a ball tool, I pressed down on the center of each of the pieces of clay. After the sculpture was done, I took out the cup and the cellophane to reveal a disaster. But as I said before, no worries. Since the clay is still soft, I can easily fix it. I began adding material to all the gaps stuffing it into the holes, and scored the different clays together to get a strong, solid structure for baking. Baking went extremely well, and I was ready for painting. I started with the background and painted with a dark brown. I moved on to the green flash color shift paint for the octopus. I did not prime the brown clay because I wanted the natural brown to show through in the finished product. Next is the Dragon Flash color shift. And finally, Silver Flash. This was for the suction cup areas. For a bit of weathering, I mixed the Dragon Flash with dark brown and water. I brushed the wash on and quickly wiped off the excess with a napkin, repeating this process to the whole sculpture. The final painting was for the starfish, and with this I used a gold rush paint. Moving on to the actual pincushion, I traced and cut out 8 pieces to make a ball shape using a plum-colored upholstery fabric, and sewed them together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I only sewed 4 together at a time to aid me in the beading process. I strung a strand of purple peacock glass beads to a thread along the seams of the ball and secured them by stitching in between each bead. Once the 2 halves of the ball were beaded, I sewed them together and turned the ball right side out. After filling the ball with stuffing, I closed it up with a ladder stitch. And finish the beading to the remaining sides. To add a fun little detail to this pincushion, I made custom straight pins by taking the ball off my old pins and attaching a sea urchin spine. Did you like this video? Did you hate it? Please comment below. If you'd like to see other videos like this, please like and subscribe. I really hope to see you next time.